Okay, we're ninth grade lit, and we're going to spend a few minutes reading, getting caught up. We are, I'd say we really have less than a third of the book left. You guys have read real well. So I think we're on page 138. And, all right, so I don't have my sheet with me where I write it all down, so you'll have to help me. I don't want to repeat anything. But I know Roland is not yet dead, so that means we're on page 138. He just got hit, right? Yeah, I think that's where we are. Isn't that right, on page top 139? Well, that's where
I think we read a little farther. Yeah, I think
Right.
we read 171.
So one what?
171.
Okay, at the bottom of 139? Okay, yes.
I think I'm not going through the whole thing.
Yeah, you can go get it. So we're at 171. And that means we're at question 59 possibly. We've done 58. We've done 58. Okay. All right, so we're at 59. What just happened?
Roland died.
What?
Roland died.
Really? Has he died yet? I don't think he's dead yet. You can't get rid of him that quickly. Yes.
Roland goes up to the mountain in Spain, because that's where he wants to die.
Okay, so he's on a little hill, mountain, and Emily, what can you add to it?
Someone took his sword and his elephant brain.
Yeah, because he conked him on the head with it. He was trying to steal his sword, and remember the picture there is a stereotype. He's trying to make the Muslims look as bad as he can, that is the writer, and so he's sneaky. In fact, I wrote that down somewhere, the sneaky Saracen. So we've done 170, I'll start at 171. He killed him with the oliphant, he broke the oliphant. Now Roland, wait a minute, before we, again, do you think there's anything a little bit, tad bit ironic about that? That it's the elephant that protects him, it's the elephant that he breaks when he remember that was such a disagreement between Roland and Oliver, is why don't you blow the elephant, blow the horn, and we'll get reinforcement. He refused to do so. Anyway, I see a little irony there. 171, now Roland feels his sight grow dim and weak. With his last strength, he struggles to his feet. All the red blood has faded from his cheeks. A gray stone stands before him at his knee. 10 strokes thereon he strikes with rage and grief. It grods, but yet not breaks nor chips the steel. Ah, cries the Count, Saint Mary succor me. Alack the day, Durandal, good and king. Now I am dying, I cannot fend for thee. How many battles I've won with you in the field. With you I've conquered so many goodly feasts. That Carlin holds, the Lord with the white beard. Let none e'er wield you that from the foe would flee. You that have wielded so long by good liege, the light of you, blessed France, shall never see. He's dying, but what is this? This is question number 59. What seems to be his biggest concern right now?
The sword.
Explain. Why would that? What's he worried about?
He's like praising the sword and telling him like the French won't see it again or something.
Yes, what is he trying to do to it? It says, a gray stone stands before him at his knee, 10 strokes there, and he strikes with rage and grief. It grides, yet nor breaks nor chips the steel. What does he appear to be trying to do with this sword? Why would he want to break it? Why would he want to break it, Jude?
He doesn't want anybody to steal it.
That's right. He doesn't want the enemy to get it, but it won't break. You'll find out why. Maybe it'll tell us here. I can't remember. Yeah, we'll find out. In fact, we're going to find out right now. Rachel, do you mind reading to start with? So we answered number 59, and he will be dying soon. Don't worry.
That is 172.
Yes.
Count Roland smites the sword and stone amain. The steel grides loud, but neither breaks nor beats.
Now, in that Raposha, he just talked about that. Now he repeats it. Thank you. You can keep going.
Now when he sees that it would no wise break, thus to himself he maketh his complaint. Ah, Durandal, so bright, so brave, so gay, how dost thou glitter and shine in the sun's rays? When Charles was keeping the vows of Moraine, God by an angel sent him to him and ordained he should bestow thee on some Count Catapane. On me his good deed, the noble Charlemagne, with this I won him a noun and all the train. With this I won him Poitou and conquered Maine. With this I won him Normandy's fair terrain. And with it one province in Aquitaine and Lombardy, for all the land remained. Bavaria too and the whole Flemish state, and Burgundy and all of Florida gained. Constantinople in the king's hand I laid, and Saxony he speaks and is obeyed. With this I won Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, and England, where he set up his domain. What lands and countries I've conquered by its aid, for Charles to keep his beard as white as May. Now I am grieved and troubled for my blade. Should Paynims get it, 'twere worse than death's chains. Dear God, forbid it should put France to shame.
Okay, so we actually don't have a question here, but I want you to know the answer. What does he tell us about the sword? Hey, Grace, we just got started. I checked the 50 questions, so at some point you need to show them. What do we find out about the sword? Where did the sword come from? Oh, an angel who gave it to Charlemagne, who gave it to Roland. It's another aspect of the supernatural. Remember, that's a part of these epic poems, and so we see that right here. We see the sword is supernatural. You're going to see Charlemagne's sword in a few minutes or a few pages. He has a very interesting sword. I'll just put it that way. So we'll go to Mallory 173. So we answered 159. He's not dead yet. I'll just tell you that. We'll know when he dies.
Count Roland smites upon the marble steps. I cannot tell you how he created content. Yet the blade breaks not in numerous splinters through it currents. Upward to heaven it rebounds in the blood. When the count sees it never will be brought. Then to himself, right softly he makes known our Durandal fair hallowed and devout. What store of Versailles and thy heart of gold? St. Peter's, to St. Peter's, for it holds hair of knives, lords, and is bare and close. Likewise the piece of Blessed Mary grows, to Paynims' hands were saying to let me go. You should be served by Christian men alone, nor may you fall to any coward soul. Many wide land I conquered by your strokes, for Charles that keep whose beard is by the snail. Lord, I right rich and mighty is his throne.
So he talks to the sword. What do you call that? A what? It is an apostrophe. You should know that, but by the time we finish these first two books, it's a very common, we read in 11th grade lit or AP lit, we read 4 poems by the same author, and each poem had an apostrophe in it. The entire poem was based on the speaker speaking to someone who cannot talk back or to some object or something. So he's talking about what is one interesting thing about the sword, besides he can't break it. And it comes from an angel, that's 2 things right there. But what's a third interesting thing about the sword?
A lot of relics are in the book of gold.
Well, what is a relic? Do you know what a relic is? That's what?
Something that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, if not money, at least it has a lot of value to it. What do you call it? What kind of value? I mean, personal value. It's not monetary, but maybe it's emotional. But in the case of the church, what's a relic? Ever heard of relics in the church? Yeah.
Is it like something, like, I know it's like something ancient, like older.
Yeah.
That like dates back pretty far, but.
Yeah. What makes it very valuable? It's not how much it costs, but it's
It's like the material, I
yeah.
guess. The meaning.
The meaning of it, yeah. Most relics in the church, we don't have them in Protestant churches. Roman Catholic churches used to, and particularly in the Middle Ages. Certain objects became sacred. And notice what's in the hilt of the sword. St. Peter's tooth. Why would that be valuable? That's what relics take on value. I don't want to sound sacrilegious here, but if that means something to you, but it sort of borders on the superstitious, like the rabbit's foot, or I don't know what, remember in the vampire movies they take the cross, like the cross, the object, which is a cross, would have any value. But if it's a relic, it's an object that has some special religious value. It says Saint Basil, who I'm not sure he is, blood, the hair of Saint Denis, a piece of Mary's robe. So it's usually some object that comes from one of the apostles or from Jesus himself. What is that object in the Round Table, Knights of the Round Table, and other stories that everybody's always chasing? It was an object in all those movies, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in one of the Indiana Jones movies. They were after the Ark one time, and forget what else they were after. There's always something that they're hunting for. And this is probably the most famous relic, at least in literature. You ever heard of the Holy Grail? That has become a term. You never heard of that? I get one of those. Nobody else has ever heard of it. It's actually a term, like the Super Bowl trophy has become the Holy Grail of football. That means everybody wants it. It's an object that is very valuable. And so the Holy Grail, you know what the Holy Grail was? And I believe in the Round Table stories, the Knights of the Round Table, they often went on quests to find the Holy Grail. You know what it was? Yeah.
Isn't it like a cup that the Lord's Last Supper?
That's right.
They drink the blood from?
That's what the Holy Grail. But again, the term Holy Grail, it refers to, if you ever hear it, it refers to some valuable object, some goal, usually symbolized by some object. I just thought of do you have any such thing, maybe not holy, maybe not religious, maybe not superstitious, but is there some object that you value? Like a possession that you own, that, if the house is burning down, this is the first thing you would grab, besides your younger brother and sister, of course. But do all of you have something like that? Like, have you ever thought of that? The house burns down, you would want to grab this thing and take it with you. Anyway, think about it. but that's kind of what that's what a grail is. I'm sorry, a relic is. I just wrote it down, so I can put it on the test as a something, maybe extra credit or whatever. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 items on this list.
Can you repeat the definition of the Holy Grail?
What's that?
Can you repeat the definition of the Holy Grail?
Well, what you need to remember is a relic, not the Holy Grail is an example of a relic. A relic is a object that has religious value, and usually it's connected to Jesus, to Mary, or some of the apostles. And it could be something little, like a tooth or part of a sail. Like in one case, it mentions a part of Peter's sail in one of his sailboats. So anything like that, yeah.
Was there like a towel that like some person put on Jesus and everyone had like his face on it or blood?
The Shroud of Turin. You ever heard of that? You don't know what that is. It's a real thing, and it's a shroud. You know what a shroud is? It's something that goes over a dead body, a corpse. And so this shroud, and they've done scientific studies of it, and I don't know the history of it in terms of how it got to where it is now. I don't know who has it. It's in some church somewhere, I think. But this was a shroud, a sheet, if you will, that was placed over the body of Jesus after he died, before he rose from the dead.
No, something like there's like this thing apparently when Jesus was carrying the cross that like some lady came over there and put like a towel on his face so I could blood off and that like they thought that like someone had that.
Well, what I was telling, the shroud is what I just described. It's a sheet that goes over a dead body. And what this shroud looks like, it has sort of the outline of a face and part of a body. I don't know about the body part, but it has an outline of a face that looks like a man with eyes closed and a beard. Now, how it came to be associated with Jesus, and how in the world could that happen? If you put a sheet over a dead body, why would there be an imprint of the body on the sheet? I mean, a literal outline. Well, that's what makes it special, because it's like supernatural. But yeah, thank you. That's a good thing. That's an example of a relic. That's probably the most valuable relic that exists. And people doubt its authenticity, I'm sure. All of these objects. How can you make sure of that? But anyway, that's the story. So we're going to go to, I believe, Ian. Are you next? 174. You have to love Roland. He even dies dramatically. He's not going to die like everybody else.
Now Roland feels death press upon him hard. It's creeping down from his head to his heart. Under a pine tree he hastens him apart. There stretches his face down on the green grass, and lays beneath him his sword and all of it. He's turned his head to where the paintings are, and this he thought for the French and for Charles, since fain is he that they should say, brave heart, that he has died a conqueror of the life. He beats his breast. Many a time has passed, gives with his bow his sins and take out his start.
Christ, okay. What is, he's dying. So what does he do? I think there are 3 things it mentions that he does. What does he do? Anybody know?
Moves under a pine tree.
All right, he goes to a tree on this little hill. He lies down. Which way is he facing? France or Spain? Spain. He's facing his enemy. So he lies face down. What does he do with the sword and oliphant? He hides it underneath him. So he lies on top of those things. Hopefully nobody will see it. And that he has died a conqueror at last is the idea. He wants to die a conqueror. Even in death, he wants to be a hero. Megan.
Now Roland, whose time was at an end, on a steep hillside there stood. He's putting his head, and with one hand he beats upon his breast, say, Please, God, mercy, Lord, I beg, for all the sins, both the great and the less, that I did, since first unto my birth, unto this day when I'm struck down by death, he right hand glove, he
So look at question 60. What does he, before he dies, what does he give to God? And what I mean by God is the angels who represent God. Because the angels are coming down, they're going to take his soul to heaven. What does he give them? What does it say he gives them?
Get his glove too.
His glove. What is the significance, Zach, of the glove in this book? Can you think of any other time when a glove was in the story, a part of the story? I think Jude can, so he's gonna get you off the hook, yeah.
You're supposed to deliver the glove to
And what happened?
Didn't he drop it?
He dropped the glove. He dropped Charlemagne's glove. What does the glove represent in this story? He read.
Like your right hand, like your best man or something.
Yeah, and in this case, the reason Charlemagne gave the glove, because the glove represents Charlemagne's authority. It's like the scepter. If you have the scepter, whoever holds it, remember Esther and Xerxes, whatever his name was in the Bible, it was Xerxes. But remember, he touched the scepter. If you touch the scepter, then that gives you the authority to speak to the king. So the glove, please make sure you understand it. I'm going to ask you this. It represents authority. It represents honor. It's the most valuable thing a soldier has, is his glove. I mean, the sword is valuable and everything else, but this kind of represents his authority. He gives it to the angel. So that's question number 80. You know what mea culpa means? Is that Latin? It's Latin. Now, I didn't take Latin. You did. So I can't answer that question. But I know the word culpable. Culpable means you're guilty. Culpa and culpable, I think, come from the same word. So mea, maybe this is Latin, I'm sure. Mea means, me. So I'm guilty. That's what it means. You need to define that. Because before he dies, he says, I'm guilty. He doesn't say I'm innocent. He doesn't say I deserve to go to heaven. Why would he say I'm guilty? Why is that an appropriate thing to say before you die?
Confessing his sin.
He's just confessing his sin. It is a legal term too. I don't know much about the law, but if you go before a judge and you plead mea culpa, that means you're basically saying, I'm guilty of all charges. I'm completely guilty. I throw myself on the mercy of the court. Please have mercy on me. I'm not even going to defend myself. I did it. I killed the guy, whatever. And I'm sorry. And then please have mercy on me. So mea culpa, that's important. So the angels, well, we'll find out what happens. So we'll go to Reese.
The mighty Roland lay down beneath the pine. The land of Spain was turned as he lies, and many things begins to call to mind. All the broad lands he conquered in his son, and fairest France and the men of his line. And Charles his lord, who bred him from a child, he cannot help but weep for them he sighs. Yet of himself he is mindful betimes. He beats his breast, and on God's mercy cries. Father most true, in whom there is no lie, who didst from death Saint Lazarus make to rise, and bring out Daniel safe from the lion's bite. Save thou my soul from danger and despite of all the sins I did in all my life. His right hand glove he's tendered unto Christ, and from his hand Gabriel accepts the sign. Straightway his head upon his arm declines, with folded hands he makes an end and dies. God sent to him his angel cherubim, and great Saint Michael of peril by the time. Saint Gabriel too was with them at his side. The county soul they bear to paradise.
He gets a grand escort to heaven. Notice who shows up. Gabriel, Michael, and cherubim. The cherubim were the ones that were seraphim and cherub. I can't remember which does which, but he gets a grand escort into heaven. And of course he gave his glove. Make a note of this. Isaiah 41:13. It says, "For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand." That's actually a very comforting verse. Doesn't hold your left hand, it says he holds your right hand, because the Bible acknowledges that. And I think we notice, where is Jesus right now? Where is he right now?
God's right hand of God.
At his right hand. That's important. Those are symbols that are important. So we go to Yuritsa. Oh, he's dead, by the way. Yeah.
What's the verse?
It's Isaiah 41:13. "For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand." And he's dead. So I think I like marking those spots so you'll know what this is. Roland has died. So we're now going to enter another phase of the story. Look, that's the first part of the book right there. All of that. 142 pages. Well, it starts on page 50. So about 100 pages. So this is the second part of the book, essentially from the moment Roland dies to the end, and we only have about 80 pages left, maybe not that many. So we'll go to Yuritsa.
Roland was dead. In heaven, God had his soul. The Emperor Charles rides into Roncesvalles.
Roncesvalles, remember what's Roncesvalles? That's where the battle was.
No way there is stone nor any road, no path, no yard, no foot of naked mold. But though some French or pagan corpse lies strewn, Charles cries, "Where are you, fair nephew? Out hero, where's the Archbishop? Is Oliver laid low? Where are Garing's playfellow? And Berenger and the good cat old friend? Ivor and Ive, so well I love them both. Where's Anglear, the Gascon graded gnome, Samson the Duke, and Encius the Bold? And where is Scared of Rosalind the Old? Where are the 12 peers I left to guard the host? What used to cry, I'll still as any stone? God, says the king, how bitter my reproach, that I was absent when they struck the first blow. He plucks his beard right angrily and wroth. Barons and knights all weep and make their moan. Full 20,000 strewn to the ground for a woe. Naaman the Duke is grieved with all his soul.
Who shows up? Almost exactly after the moment Roland dies, who immediately shows up? Charlemagne. Just a little too late. One thing you have to notice about the book is how quick the action is. He doesn't die and then a lot of talking happens and then something else then happens. As soon as he dies, the next thing happens. There's no transition. So, bam, he's in there. And now who's he looking for? He's looking for Roland. He's looking for the other peers. But we know he's too late. So we will go to Emily.
There is no baron nor knight in all the train that does not weep most piteously for pain. Brothers and sons and nephews they bewail, for their liege lords and friends they make complaint. Many of them fall to the ground and faint. Great wisdom then Naaman the Duke displays, for to the emperor he is the first to say. Look there ahead, perchance 2 leagues away. Those clouds of dust, the highway and haze. See how great hordes Paynims flee apace. Ride, my lord, ride. Avenge this dolorous fray. Alas, quoth Charles, what an advance they've gained. Truly you counsel what right and honor claim. Fair Francis' flower they reft from me this day. He summons Othin and Giboin to aid, Tybalt of Reims and County Mill and Brave. Guard you the field, guard all the hills and vales. As the dead lie, so let them lie, I say. Let no lion touch them, nor any beast of prey, nor any squire touch them, nor any knave. I charge you none, no hand on them be laid, till to this field, please God, we come again. And they reply with love and reverence great. Most dearest Lord, just Emperor, we obey. Of them we end, 8,000 knights they name.
Naaman notices something. They're all off their horses. They're crying. They're sad because their buddies and friends, maybe brothers, have been killed. So they're all crying. They're all standing around. And then Naaman notices. So what does he notice? Look at it. What does he see? he sees dust in the air. Big deal. What's happening there? Yeah.
They're running away, the pagans.
It's the sign that the Paynims, that the army that just killed Roland, is not far away. He says, let's go get them, which is what they're going to do. To guard the bodies, they are going to mount up, and they're going to go after the army of Marsilian. Will.
The emperor bids the trumpet sound to war, which his whole army the valiant king sets forth. Hard on the trail they chase with one accord the men of Spain whose backs were turned far off. When the king sees the dusk begin to fall, in a green meadow he lights down on the sword, kneels on the ground and prays to God our Lord, for love of him to hold back his son's course, prolong the day and bid the dark withdraw. Straightway an angel with whom he won't talk comes with his summons and answers to his call. Ride, Roland, ride, the light shall not come short. The flower of France is fallen, God knows all. Thou shalt have vengeance upon the heathen horde. When this he hears, the emperor gets the horse.
So before they get ready to go after him, but before that, Charlemagne gets on his knees and he has a specific prayer. What does he ask God to do? He asks him to do something that, as far as I know, has only been done once in human history. Yeah,
To keep his son from sinning.
right.
And did that happen in the Bible?
Yes.
To Israel.
Yeah.
Israelites not.
Yep. Very good. Do you remember who it was?
Joshua.
Yes. Why don't you write this down? Joshua 10, 12 through 14. At that time, Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, sun, stand still in Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? The sun stopped in the midst of the heaven and did not hurry to set about a whole day. There has been no day like it since or before, where the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. Why do you think it's here? Why do you think the author wanted us to think of Joshua, or his audience to think of Joshua? Yeah,
So Israel's defeat like all the tribes.
say it again.
Is Israel defeats all the tribes of God.
Yeah, and who helped them do that?
God.
And so he's trying to connect God and Charlemagne. You know, Charlemagne is like Gideon. Like Joshua. So I want you to get, we'll stop right here. I'm going to ask you to get out your journal. We're going to write for about 10 minutes. Well, you wouldn't tell me, so I'm going to ask you to write about it. Yes?
Can I do my book now?
Yeah, let me tell you what we're going to write about before you go. All right. You wouldn't answer it, so I'm going to ask you to write about it. Remember, I asked you if you had to desert, you had to get out of your house because of a fire or some danger. What's something you would take other than your brothers and sisters and family members? Is there something that you own that's valuable to you that you wouldn't want fire to devour it because it really couldn't be duplicated or replaced? Tell me what that is. I'm not really calling that a relic, but that is what relics are like. What would that be to you? What would be that thing you would not want to lose, you wouldn't want to be burned up in a fire, you wouldn't give it away, because it's so valuable? And I think it'd be interesting to share those, so you have 10 minutes. And if you need to go get, go ahead.